Hi all, welcome back. We were discussing the story, A Letter to God, and we completed the part, The Pleasure of Rain. And what did we learn from the last class? Okay, let me ask you a few questions from the part that we completed in the last class, and that questions will help you to recap the story once again. Here is my first question. What is the name of the farmer in the story A Letter to God? Do you remember the name of the farmer? Yes, the name of the farmer is Lenjo. And where was his house? Where was Lenjo's house? Yes. His house was sat on the crest of a hill. His house was sat on a crest of a hill. And my third question. Throughout the morning, Lenjo had done nothing. Was he lazy? What do you think? Was Lenjo lazy? What do you think? Yes. No, he was not lazy. He was looking at the sky towards the northeast throughout the morning because he was desiring for rain, as he was a farmer. He was a farmer and he needs rainwater for his crops. And my fourth question. The big drops are tens and the little ones are fives. What does Lenjo mean by this? What does he mean by that statement? Yes. Lenjo was a farmer and he was watching the sky waiting the rainfall because he needs water for his crops that give him money. And that's why he sees the raindrops falling from the sky are like new coins. The big drops are tens and the little ones are fives. I hope all of you have answered those questions. And shall we go through the part, The Night of Sorrow? Okay, let's read and understand the second part of the story, A Letter to God, that is, The Night of Sorrow. A night of sorrow. He looked at the field of ripe corn with its flowers draped in curtain of rain. But suddenly a strong wind began to blow. Very large hailstones began to fall. It's really getting bad now, exclaimed Lenjo. I hope it passes quickly. It did not pass quickly. It hailed for an hour on the house, the garden, the hillside, the cornfield, and the whole valley. The field was white, as if covered with salt. Not a leaf remained on the trees. The corn was totally destroyed. The flowers had disappeared from the plants. Lenjo's soul was filled with sadness. The night was a sorrowful one. This year we will have no corn. There is no one to help us. We will all go hungry this year. But in the hearts of all who lived in that solitary house, there was a single hope. Help from God. All through the night, Lenjo thought only of his one hope, God. Did you listen the story carefully? Do you want to read the part again? Okay, please read A Night of Sorrow silently. Okay, let me clear your doubts. Lencho was happy when it started raining, but the happiness didn't last long. What was the reason? At the beginning, Lencho was very happy, but then he became sad. What was the reason? Yes, because suddenly a strong wind began to blow. Very large hailstones began to fall from the sky and the corn was totally destroyed. So the happiness didn't last long. The happiness of Lenjo didn't last long. When he noticed huge clouds of rain are coming, he became very happy. But when it turned to falling hailstones, all the hopes have been destroyed. And he became sad. The hailstones hailed for an hour on the house, the garden, the hillside, the cornfield, and the old valley. The field was white, as if covered with a salt. Not a leaf remained on the trees. Every crops have been filled with the hailstones and the field became look like a filled with a salt. And my dears, pick out the expressions which tell you that Lencho was sad. Then you can see some of the expressions that shows Lencho was sad. Pick out that expressions. Yes. Lencho expresses, this year we will have no corn. There is no one to help us. And we will all go hungry this year. Why? Yes, the hailstone has been destroyed all the crops of Lenjo. And he lost. He is going to lose all his money that he invested in this crops. And he is going to be hungry throughout the year. We know that Lencho was a farmer and his earnings were depends upon the crops that he cultivated in his farm. That crops, that means the corns, was destroyed by the heavy hailstones. And Lencho became very sad. And my question, what changes did the hailstones bring to the valley? What changes the hailstone bring to the valley? Yes. The ripe corn was totally destroyed. The flowers and the leaves have disappeared from the plants. That were the changes that the hailstone brought to the valley. And Lencho realized that there will be hungry throughout the year. But there was a single hope that he expected from the God. Lencho strongly believed in God and he hoped that the God will open a door in front of him. Dears, did you understand the part A Night of Sorrow? Let's go through the part once again. A night of sorrow. He looked at the field of ripe corn with its flowers draped in a curtain of rain. But suddenly a strong wind began to blow. Very large hailstones began to fall. It's really getting bad now, exclaimed Lencho. I hope it passes quickly. It did not pass quickly. It hailed for an hour on the house, the garden, the hillside, the cornfield, and the old valley. The field was white, as if covered with a salt. Not a leaf remained on the trees. The corn was totally destroyed. The flowers had disappeared from the plants. Lencho's soul was filled with sadness. That night was a sorrowful one. This year we will have no corn. There is no one to help us. We will all go hungry this year. But in the hearts of all who lived in that solitary house, there was a single hope, help from God. All through the night, Lencho thought only of his one hope, God. Okay, this is all about today's video. We'll meet in the next lesson. Thank you so much. Goodbye.